Hi everyone, my name is Payanna and welcome to my book club. And today's video is going to be about The Empress by S.J.Kincaid, which is the sequel to The Diabolic, which I read a few months ago, and I was amazed by how brilliant it was. I really enjoyed it. It was a YA sci-fi trilogy, and oh my god, I was so taken by it. I really wanted to see what happens next. So the third novel, Nemesis, was released not so long ago, and I've just ordered that, so I should be getting it soon. But anyway, yeah, let's start with this. So at the end of the first book, Nemesis was basically fiancé to Tyrus, the new emperor of the galaxy, and he wanted to reinstate science because he believed that all the ships were falling into disrepair because no one studied science anymore. It was considered heresy, and everything was left to the god of the stars. And Nemesis is a kind of bioengineered creature. She's not a human. She's been created by merging DNAs of several different creatures together to create a humanoid who is incidentally the best bodyguard you could have. She's incredibly strong, and she was bound to one person who died in book one, and now Tyrus decided to use her to overthrow the emperor, his uncle, and his grandmother, who were very, very focused on obviously science is bad, and he believed that like the ships were actually exploding when they entered hyperspace, which was creating this thing called malignant space, which is really dangerous. It kind of sucks everything in. Very, very bad. And it's destroyed entire planets. So he really wanted to put a stop to this and maybe find a solution and get rid of these patches of malignant space. So Tyrus is a very benevolent person who is willing to do what it takes to ensure that he gets to be in charge and protect people. However, things aren't going as he'd hoped. He discovers that he cannot control any of the ships that make up the Imperial Palace because he needs the support of all the priests, essentially, in the galaxy. And obviously they won't give their support to someone who doesn't uphold their religion. So that's a problem because nothing works properly, basically. And he doesn't know what to do about that. So they need to find a solution to that. They try and get the support of smaller worlds, planet-dwelling people. The rich people live in big spaceships, but the planet-dwellers are the excess, the poor people, the plebs, essentially. And he's trying to gain their support, which kind of works. Nemesis finds herself in the company of a girl called Naveni, who was her friend, her only friend in book one, and she is the daughter of planet-dwelling excess, and she wants more power and freedom. And Nemesis does, like she went on a long journey in book one because she started off as a completely a creature that only obeyed her core programming, essentially, despite the fact she's a biological creature. She's not a robot, but she was essentially meant to destroy anything that was a threat to her owner. Only her owner's not there anymore, so now she has to kind of work out her own way by essentially becoming more human-like and developing emotions and understanding of how humans work. It's still a bit awkward for her because she still sees threats to Tyrus everywhere, so she's trying to protect him. But Tyrus is there to try and get the support of the Lords, obviously, but they decide to give their support to one of his most outspoken opposes a man called Senator von Passos, and then they all decide to leave. So Tyrus, of precaution, had taken some of these people's children into custody, including a boy called Gladic. This boy's father just leaves, like he just leaves his son on this planet, and Nemesis then is supposed to go and kill this boy, only she refuses to do it. She thinks this is wrong, this kid's been abandoned by his dad. His dad doesn't care, like what difference does it make if he dies? So she really starts seeing, like having pity almost, and a greater understanding of how humans work and human relations, and actually feeling sorry for this poor kid. So Nemesis and Tyrus decide to go and see the sacred city where the interdict lives. So this man essentially rules over all the religious people in this world. So he's the top man, as it were, the kind of pope of this world. Only he hasn't been seen for centuries because he lives in a very peculiar part of the world, the secret city that no one's ever seen and no one's been to for a very long time. So Nemesis and Tyrus decide to try and go there. Apparently a lot of people have tried to go and never come back, so they don't even know if it's real. So they make this journey. And when they get there, they realise that there is a black hole there, which is why apparently ships have been disappearing. So they get into the sacred city, they meet this man, the interdict, who, like, they expose the problem to him, and he's like, oh yeah, well, so what if you can't get the support of the religious leaders? Just try harder. He doesn't really care at first, until Tyrus... Like, I think he talks about the theory of relativity, and Tyrus doesn't know what that is. And the interdict is very shocked that the actual Emperor doesn't know about science. And at which point he realises that no one does anymore, because science is banned, supposedly because of him, which isn't the case. He wanted to ban science amongst those who would do dangerous things with it, but not ban it from the Emperor and his family. So Tyrus actually threatens him by threatening to throw him into the black hole. Like, it gets a bit tense. But the interdict agrees to train new religious men to come and spread his actual word and say, look, it's okay, you can learn science, it's fine, that they got that bit wrong. So Nemesis and Tyrus go back with this information. However, given that this sacred city is so close to a black hole and its gravitational field, time does not work in the same way. So when they come back, several months have gone by, whilst they've only been away a couple of hours. And this is a big problem, because in that time, Senator von Passos has taken over, and the Emperor is basically taken hostage and forced to pass a deal with the senator, who essentially he wants to drug him, basically to put him under his control. Like Corwin was in Shadow and Flame, incidentally. I seem to be reading a lot of novels at the moment where this tactic is used. Tyrus agrees to do this because he believes that he can beat the drug. He believes that he is strong enough to do this. He doesn't have a choice. He's got no allies at this point, and they've all been kind of blackmailed into following this senator, because he essentially committed genocide on the planet. Nemesis and Tyrus were Navini's original planet before they left to go see the interdict. So it gets dark. The senator also puts an implant in Nemesis's spine, which suppresses her power. So her strength. So she no longer can defend Tyrus using her strength. So she's essentially defenseless. He's defenseless. So he agrees to be injected with this drug, which basically turns him into a vegetable. And they, the senator and the court, make him take responsibility for the genocide. So this is the official version for the whole empire. He did that. And a bunch of other things. And Nemesis has no other choice but to go along with this. She isn't even allowed to see him. The senator makes her promise that she will not come to his ship unless she's invited, and she agrees to this without thinking anything of it until she realizes that that's where he's going to take Tyrus. So she can't even see him. In the end, the senator stops giving him such high doses of the drug, so he re-becomes normal, he regains his cognitive abilities, but he is still addicted to this drug. And so he's like, and he is now dependent on the senator to get this drug. He has no other way of getting it. So they become faced with this quite difficult dilemma. He also starts getting very violent. At one point he lashes out against another senator and kills him. And Nemesis, upon having a conversation with Gladdick, discovers that this is actually a side effect of the drug. It is not only meant to make him into the senator's lapdog, it's also meant to deteriorate his mind in a specific way, especially deteriorating the part of his mind which involves any kind of empathy or any kind of caring, in the hope that he will forget about Nemesis and just not care about her anymore. So she tries to find a way to do something about this. She comes up with a plan involving Nevenny and also Gladdick, I think. He tries to get hold of the drug. People find out about it. It keeps... Everything goes wrong, basically, in this novel. Everything that can possibly go wrong goes wrong. And she eventually devises a way of taking a ship and sucking him and her out into space. And she uses the two other Diabolics, the deceased Empress's Diabolic. She uses them to make this happen. They're supposed to fight to the death, and she organizes this attack to get them out. However, Tyrus can't withstand the force that will suck them into space. So she is forced to leave him behind, to leave him in the care of the senator. She has no other choice because she desperately wants to save his life, even though he had basically come to the conclusion that he was going to die. And from this point on, it gets very, very, very dark. She decides to go back to the interdict and tell him that, look, however long it, basically, in the time it's going to take him to train the new priests, years are going to go by on their side. So she has to go back to him to tell him, look, we can't wait this long. You need to come back now. So she takes Nevenny's ship, and one of the other Diabolics also survives, Anguish. And they scuttle off back to see the interdict, hopefully, so that he can go back and settle this whole mess. Only that's not what happens, obviously. Everything goes wrong. Nevenny murders him. And destroys the secret city. It gets really violent. She then abandons Nemesis on the city, and she has to wait 12 days before she can get back to Tyrus. Only, for her, on her side it's 12 days, on the other side it's 3 years. So when she gets back and finds Tyrus, everything has gone very wrong. And S.J.Kincaid writes it in a very brilliant way, very clever, because when she gets back, she does not know how far gone Tyrus is. She knows he's still been on this drug for the 3 years she's been gone, and obviously she's only been away 12 days, but so much time has gone by. Obviously, from his point of view, it's devastating. He's a very different person. She does not know if he's pretending or if he's acting the way he is because he's really like that. There's a lot of mind games going on. It's really clever. And the ending, I'm not going to talk about the ending until I get to book 3, because let's just say it really goes to places that you would not expect it to go. So what I enjoyed about this, apart from all of it, it's brilliant. It's very fast paced. And the fact that everything goes wrong, that is a technique of writing I know that you come across sometimes, where you get these situations and I know, I mean, I've read about writing, and I know that one of the really good things that writers can do is like try and imagine the worst thing that could possibly happen, and then like get it to happen. And because it keeps the reader on their toes, it keeps the writer on their toes, because then they've got to figure out how this character is going to get out of these situations. That's what happens every single page on this book. Everything that could possibly go wrong goes wrong in the worst way possible, which is why the ending is so insane. And I really appreciate that. I really do, because I am reading the second book in the Diabolic series at the moment, and it is painful in how bland it is. So thank you, S.J. Kincaid, for providing this particular entertainment whilst I am reading through a book where it's basically the opposite, where nothing goes wrong and everything goes smoothly. But yeah, I've got 60 pages of that book left, and I will be getting the review out of that, hopefully, in a week. I hope next week. We shall see if I've got the moral fibre to read those last 60 pages without going insane. But anyway, this was good. This was really good. I'm really excited to read the Nemesis, the third book in the trilogy. Hopefully should be arriving next week. So that's it. That was my video on the Empress by S.J. Kincaid. And thank you so much for watching my video. And I hopefully will see you soon. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Really like to hear what you think. And I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.